check out this tweet by Mehdi Hasan. He's responding to Lucy White, who reasonably said, I do not want my country to be full of Muhammads, Khans, Patels, Singhs, Adebayos, or Babatundis. I don't know that name. I'm assuming it's an African name. I want my country to be full of Matthews, Peters, Johns, Williams, Christophers, and Samuels. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't see these names as just white names as much as I see them as Western names. Someone like, I can imagine Wesley Snipes, for example. He's a Hollywood actor, yeah? Black man, but he is through and through a Western American man with African American history, heritage. But he's more Western than any of the new Westerners the West has had, yeah? You can clearly see the difference between Black America and Somali Americans, right? So I'm reading it like that, okay? My daughter's name is not Asifa, her name is not Noshin, or her name is not a Muslim name, which is obviously by choice. Her last name is my name, of course, but her mother's English, so we included her surname too. Hyphenated. I'm a feminist, okay? I believe in, I don't think a person's identity should only flow through his father, although it's going to get complicated because if she has kids and her husband or partner says that, oh, he's going to have name, and then I say, hey, my daughter, you need to put your name too. So now we're going to have, the names are going to get longer and longer as though we're some royalty, but we're not. Well, Sultan does mean king though. Anyway, so getting back to this. So Mehdi Hasan responded to this as he would. Look at this. What a dumbass tweet. And I'll break it down for you. Well, your forebears should have thought of that before they went around the world, colonizing the lands of Muhammads, Khans, and Patels. Enjoy your racism. See how he sees race and everything? I did not see this as white, even though most people with these names are white, and I'll tell you the difference why. So first of all, this tweet is fundamentally, ideologically, morally, and logically flawed. Why is it morally flawed? First of all, how can you punish the son for the crimes of his great-great-grandfather? If we assume that they committed a crime, which is, again, we'll go back to that. If Lucy White's ancestors, committed some horrible crimes, they went into India, they went into Africa, they went into the Caribbean, wherever, everywhere they went, they enslaved people, beat people up, colonized their lands. That was the way of the world, first of all. I would see it as competing civilizations and societies. Everyone trying to establish an upper hand. And up until very recently, well, actually not even completely, even now, yes, our current superpower is the most benign superpower, the United States of America, but it is also trying to maintain its viability and its hegemony over the rest of the world, which is not evil. It's useful, because if America does not control the world, then someone else will. Who will? China, most likely, or the Soviet Union back in the day. I could not imagine living in those worlds. So American hegemony is important. And just like that, in the past, let's say the 17th and the 18th and the 19th centuries, European powers were trying to establish a strong foothold so they could be at the top and they could rule the world, or they could control the world. Perfectly fine. So those people were just cogs in those machines, and they were doing what humanity had always done up until that point. So I don't know if that is morally wrong. How about Mehdi Hasan? Now you are worried about the racism of people like Lucy White and other Westerners who are perfectly right to do that, because now we have to zoom out, guys. We have to zoom out. The days of individualism are gone. We now have to look at people from the perspective of groups. Hear me out. You might think that this is xenophobic, or this is very, it could fall into racism. It won't, because we have to zoom out now, because the stake of Western civilization is on the line here. The very survival of Western civilization is on the line. And again, let me add, this has been going on for centuries. The last 75 years that we have lived in relative peace has been an anomaly. Those 75 years, that's an anomaly. That era is an anomaly. It's not the norm. What's coming is the norm. We enjoyed an enormous peak. Now we're going to experience a trough. So Mehdi Hasan's forebearers, His forefathers, actually, they're mine too, by the way. I'm ethnically Punjabi, and my great-great-grandfather was somewhere in India. I don't know what he was doing. Probably plowing the field, or maybe working in the royal court. I don't know. Working for the Mughals. I don't know. I haven't looked that far. I haven't been in the show. Who do you think you are yet? So my forefathers should have invested in science and technology and education and built stronger armies so a few thousand Brits could not colonize in the entire India that had about 300 million people at that time. 300 freaking million people got conquered by 30,000 Brits. Shame on us, okay? Shame on us. Okay, so we got subdued, we got colonized, which was the way of the world. So I don't understand the moral argument here. So it's not even moral, it's perfectly utilitarian. That's how the world worked, okay? And why not go even further back? What about the Muslims? Muslims colonized North Africa. Mehdi Hasan will gladly tell you, he's actually too clever, but other Muslims do that. We went as far as Spain. What the hell were you doing in Spain, bro? Why were you trying to go into France? Thanks to Charles Martel, they started pushing you back. What were you doing over there? You were colonizing. You were doing what everyone had been doing until that point. But you have a problem with other people doing it? When the shoe is on the other foot? No, so it's not a moral argument. It's the same. Now, last point that I always want to discuss, that these Muslims always use that as though it's an argument to justify their colonization of the West. Fine, you are well within your rights to think that way, Muslims. You are well within your rights. Well, you couldn't defeat them through through military means. Fine, so you got to find a backdoor entry. You got to find a sneaky way. You found it. Well done. There were 5 million Muslims in Europe at the turn of the century. Do you know how many Muslims there are right now in Europe? 50 million. 50 million. That's more than the population of Australia and New Zealand combined. So what are they going to do? So you're colonizing. Mohammeds, Khans, and Patels, they're all taking. By the way, Hindus are not trying to take over, but I can understand why when people like Lucy White or native Westerners, when they zoom out and they say, oh my God, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Perfectly fine and reasonable, guys. And look, the West has a lot of blame rests with the West as well. Prosperity and progress made Westerners make less babies, fewer babies. Fewer babies mean you need to fill those little gaps. Every politician who comes in, he has to find a solution that is feasible within an election cycle. So when he goes back to the next election, he tells them, hey, this is what I did, you know, the NHS is under control, Medicare, or, you know, the tech industry, no, not the tech industry in America, but I don't know much about America, but, you know, whatever that is. So he can say that, hey, you know, we worked on this. But over time, you realize that, oops, something significantly has changed. And now 50 years later, Brits are finding out the hard way, and they're looking at it and they say, what the hell happened? Our entire neighborhoods look nothing like us. Their entire neighborhoods in Britain and France and Germany, no-go zones. And now we're starting to see that here in Australia. A lot of people are noticing now. Well, we didn't make babies. That was always inevitable. And we expected our politicians to find our politicians actually did find the most optimum way of survival in that moment. But it's not that optimum when you zoom out. Oh, we have to judge every person individually. Yes, in stable societies, that's how we should always treat people as individuals. But the more we have to zoom out, the more the survival of your entire civilization rests on critical topics, big things, like your way of life. Can that be preserved? Well, you have to address it. No, it can't be preserved if you bring in 1 million foreigners who are not only not compatible with you, but actually are antithetical to your way of life. They actually tell you, we're going to wipe you out. So no, you have to now look at them as a group, as a hostile group, and you have to say, ooh, we need to curb. First, we need to curb their inflow, and then if our politics permit, then we need to start sending them back too. If politics do not reach a viable solution, then that's a recipe for disaster. I'm not inciting violence. I am simply telling you what has always happened in history before, and it is going to happen again. So Mehdi Hasan, this is a dumb, stupid idea that because Britain colonized the world, therefore now you can colonize Britain. You can, perfectly fine from your point of view, because, yeah, you know, as I said, But you're missing a key component here. Britain colonized you by force. You could not stop them. Here, it's the other way around. You are colonizing them because British society thinks that, oh, we should let them in. We're all equal. We all bleed the same, blah, blah, blah. That is a voluntary decision by them. Your colonization was involuntary on your part. This is voluntary on the part of British society. So that's why that voluntary can become no more. No more. We don't want you anymore. So that's a key difference. Must you not forget that? Because I know you don't care, Mehdi Hasan, because you want millions and millions of Muslims to come and colonize Britain, Australia, America, and racism, racism. You can keep doing that. It worked. It worked for a while. But it's not going to work because people, what is happening in our world, guys? People don't care about labels like xenophobia, racism, this, that. People are throwing the N-word around, which I'm not in favor of. African Americans are an integral part of Western society. They're an integral part of Western society. We need to clean our mess up. I was thinking about it. Go back to the 80s, go back to the 90s, the Hollywood movies. The only cultural divide that you would see, or the social divide you would see in American society was what? White America and Black America. That's it, which was very complex. And I'm not picking any side here. But look at it now. You've got the Somalis, you've got the Indians, you've got the Haitians. Oh, yes, sometimes Mexicans will become part of the social debate as well. They're coming in, the Mexicans are coming, that kind of thing. That was a third. But the main integral part in the 60s and the 50s was definitely African American and white American divide. So ask yourself, even in America, in the case of this increasing social complexity, has American society become a better society? I don't know. Multiculturalism does not work. It may be noble, but it does not work if you want to build strong, cohesive societies. And again, earlier I said we need to look at people groups. When I say groups, I meant group people on the basis of their cultural preferences, their ways of life. These are all moving parts in any given society. Focus on cultural aspects. Don't break it down by race, break it down by culture. But when you do break it down by culture, you will find a lot of common races acting together within those moving parts or those ways of life. So that's not inherently racist. That is inherently culturalist. Most cultural groups have same ethnicities. That's why it appears racist, but it's not. Like most Indians will gel together when it comes to, hey, guys, we need to do something about the bureaucracy that is increasingly becoming Indian. That's a concern in Australia. In America, it's a tech sector, whatever. So then all Indians will gel together. Even those Indians who never gel together in Indian society, but outside in America, they will gel together. Again, I'm not picking a side here. I'm just simply telling you how people are going to behave. So you're well within your rights to look at that. Now, that's not racist. That is a cultural argument that you're making, that we are seeing when Indians come to any organization, they tend to employ other Indians, and somehow the natives are pushed out. That's an observed phenomenon across many Western nations. So you're going to talk about that. It's not racist. So just like that, when you look at Muslims, you go like, why do all these Muslims gel together? So right now, whether you are a Mehdi Hasan like cryptic jihadist, or you are Bushra Sheikh, or you are a full-blown big bearded Islamist, they all gel together for some reason. We have Yasir Qadhi saying that it's okay with Mamdani. We have to support him. Mamdani is pro-LGBTQ, and even some of the most vile Islamists who are the most homophobic people, they are supporting Mamdani. Why? Because they're gelling together. So you're perfectly right to look at them as a one big moving part within American society that is going to shape the trajectory of your evolution or which direction you're headed in. So it is absolutely important. So anyway, so let's end with this. This is a very stupid tweet by Mehdi Hasan. And I think it's not going to work, guys. That's their only trick. He's a one-trick pony. They have no other argument left because he never calls out badly behaving Muslims. He never does. You know why? Because he knows what he's doing. So don't fall for it, guys. And I'm sure you won't. This is the reason why when I run these scenarios in my head, I do not see Muslims winning, but I do see a serious conflict emerging in the West. And on the outside, we've got this whole China, Taiwan, Russia, Ukraine thing happening. And on the inside, we have these culture wars. They're not the culture war in that sense, but like, yeah, it is actually, I think, yeah, the culture wars are not over yet. They are evolving. They are headed towards a serious conflict. And the more we understand that, the better you can navigate out of it unscathed.